So we've established that LaFleur is grown into his own now, 33-7 as the he's 13-1 and 13-1 and now 7-1, right? So 33-1, 33-7 now as coach of the Green Bay Packers, and he and the relationship with Rodgers clearly seems to be bonded. And Rodgers is guy who's like, let's get Randall Cobb, and okay, let's give Aaron a little something, let him wet his beak a little bit on the roster, and then Cobb comes up big, and then everyone else is performing around it. Is it possible that we're watching Rodgers fall back in love with everything about the Green Bay Packers, soup to nuts, and that the offseason of discontent will actually, with this regular season, lead to a longer stay, if not his entire career? Do you think that is possible, Andrew?
Yeah, my friend, a lot to unpack here, and I want to lead with my head, not my heart, because I, as people know me from Twitter and during the games, I'm still a big fan, I'm still biased. But I sort of diagnosed this whole off season as Aaron, who was a good soldier in year one about the pick of Jordan Love, where we had a different experience with Brett 15 years ago when we picked Aaron, kind of after the championship game was like, what's going on here? Because I get the feeling they want to move to Love in 2022. And in so many words, I thought his people were saying to the Packers, let's just do it now. Why wait a year? Let's just do it now. Let's move them on. You're going to do it next year. And, of course, the Packers, in management, they wanted the MVP performance again before moving on to Love. And they ultimately, I guess, for lack of a better word, won that battle. And Aaron has a contract accommodation, but not till after 2022. But if you remember, Rich, there's kind of loose language when in the reporting that after 2021, Packers and Aaron will sort of figure it out. And the way I read that was he'll be involved in what team he picks to be traded to. So I have always thought that 2022 was the separation date between Aaron and the Packers. I've thought that. And if you're putting a gun to my head, I still think it. But my heart says, wow, he's so invested in this team. He loves the team. This may be sort of a real dramatic year in the history of the Packers and Aaron, and maybe it could continue. But there's two parts to this. There's the Aaron side, and I don't think his feelings have been assuaged completely. I do think he doesn't have this warmth for the front office, and that has continued, but they're professional. They're living with each other for 6 months. And there's the Packers side, where, we waited 3 years to move to Aaron years ago. I don't think they want to wait 3 years for Jordan Love. And I know you've got the MVP, but I think it's 2 years. So I would think this would still require, Rich, a change in attitude for both sides.
Well, I mean, the change in attitude from Rodgers' side, I can't attest to, right? I mean, from the fact of, like, he's a singular person that I don't think that you could compare him to anybody else in the NFL, not just talent-wise, but, neck up between the temples-wise. I mean, a perfect example of that is last night he's being taken down by his numbers on the back of his jersey, and the takedown is somewhat slow enough for him to be spun around and make eye contact with the official who he thinks should be calling a flag for a horse collar tackle. Like, he's actually has the presence of mind to find the appropriate zebra that he wants a call from in the middle of the play. I mean, like, you don't talk about presence of mind and awareness, and clearly he now has that mentally for whatever he says that his approach to life allows him to live in the moment, so on and so forth. So I can't speak to that, right? But what I can, I think, speak to is, the football aspect of this. Wouldn't it be complete football rostering franchise malpractice to tell Aaron Rodgers at this stage, certainly when you're seeing Brady do it to age 44, how can you move on to a guy that's totally new, potentially very talented, and I know he could be there for a very long time, but you're seeing what's going on in Chicago right now. I mean, you're seeing what's going on in New York. You're seeing what's going on in Jacksonville. You want a piece of that by telling Rodgers adios?
I know.
Really? Like, that's malpractice to me. That I think I could speak to. Andrew, what about you?
If you were interviewing me 15 years ago, and I probably wouldn't come on because I was with the organization,
yes,
you'd ask the exact same question. The exact 100% same words. Instead of Rodgers and Love, it would be Favre and Rodgers. And there was no question I got more in those 3 years where Aaron was a backup, which was, you can't do this. You can't move from Brett Favre to an unknown. What do you want to end up like these teams with no quarterback, like the Bears at the time? So and again, I am not suggesting Jordan Love will be anything like Aaron Rodgers. But at some point, these decisions have been made. Yeah, the Packers could go another year, but then Love's into the fourth year of his contract. And it just feels to me like this has been the plan. And if they win the Super Bowl and Rodgers is off in the sunset to a new team, so be it. I'm saying what I said to you on text, Rich. My heart says more Rodgers. My head says they're still going to move on.
Why is that? Because you think Rodgers is still, again, his answer he gave last night about living in the moment, and he made an adjustment last year that he's, by the way, he's taken that on the golf course. You see what he did to try and carry DeChambeau against Phil and Brady too, right? I mean, like, it's not just football. He's clearly doing it everywhere for himself.
He's a different guy. When we brought him in first time after drafting him, I just noticed it right away. Just kind of this, first of all, off-the-charts intelligence and vocabulary you don't see with frankly, a lot of players. And this sort of sense of calm. And I just attributed it to California, Northern California cool, but it's just this sense of calm and things, not taking things too seriously, and this wry sense of humor. And then, as I've told you before, we had those 2 off seasons where Brett spent the time in Mississippi. And I had Greg Jennings and Donald Driver and James Jones coming up to our offices and saying, I mean, oh, my God. Oh, my God, this guy. I mean, we love Brett. But, oh, my God, this young guy, Rodgers. So we knew. Now, I don't know what's going on in that scenario with Love, but Love had that this offseason, right? Rodgers wasn't there. Love had that. So they probably know a lot more about Love than they did a year ago.
But Rodgers is different from Favre, though, right? I mean, Rodgers doesn't have this start streak that was consuming a lot either. I don't know if I know Rodgers has suffered injuries, but I think he's in a better physical place than, like, at least when you moved on from Favre, you kind of figured he didn't have much longer to go. I mean, Rodgers, you could literally get him for another 6 years because of what Brady's doing, and if he wants to do the same damn thing, right? I mean, I don't know. It's not just like, hey, he might go somewhere else for 2 years. He could have a whole other career somewhere else or you could have a whole other dynastic run with him in Green Bay in the same way that Brady did after Garoppolo was dispatched. Andrew,
and I'm trying to put myself in Brian's shoes and Matt LaFleur. They're both at whatever you want to call it at fault for picking Jordan Love. I'm trying to think about 2019 season and if they detected decline in Aaron's game.
He couldn't. He was terrific. He was sublime. He didn't win MVP.
These
but
past 2 years, I'm wondering what happened for them to move up to take Love. So, it may be as simple as, I remember NFL Network people, this Jordan Love could be a top 10 pick. Maybe it's simple as, oh, my God, look at the value.
Right.
But we'll see.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot to play out here. God willing, he doesn't get injured. If he continues to play this way, obviously it's going to force the Packers' hand. But don't discount Aaron here. Don't discount that it's all kumbaya with Aaron and the organization. And when I heard that LaFleur and Murphy and Gutekunst all made trips to L.A. this offseason and still had issues, that's still a problem.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.